Good evening, Habs fans. Welcome back to the Habs Tonight channel. My name is Anik. I'm joined with Shane and Drew Deeks. It is the end of the year. I can't believe I'm saying that. I feel like it's been 5 years, but we have so much to recap for you guys today. So much has happened throughout the 2022 season. Let's just jump right into it because I think it's going to take us 3 hours just to get through what we want to say. Boys, let's get going with, I think, one of the most shocking hires, but the best one, Chantal Machabée being hired as VP of Communications for the Montreal Canadiens. So just walk us through your initial reactions when you learn, and what do you feel having Chantal right now? What's your report card on her?
That's it. I mean, that hire, January 5th, right? Start off the year with a bang. VP of Communications was never a position that we'd make a video on and say, okay, who are our top picks? Like, who could be a replacement? We never really paid much attention to that position. But when Chantal Machabée was hired, right, she is someone who's not only respected here in Montreal in the province of Quebec, but all across the hockey world. Like, everybody knows her, everybody respects her, and she has done a tremendous job. She A+. You asked me for my report card. Great hire by Jeff Molson there. And she's done an outstanding job. I don't think we ever doubted her, though.
No, not at all. Dixie.
Yeah, no, I think that based on what I learned from you guys, because honestly, like, you guys can understand a lot more of what she says than I can. Being, she speaks, her first language is French, just like yourself and Nick and Shane. Is your first language French too?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, exactly. So enough said. So right then and there, but you know how her reputation was with RDS. She's been in the business for over 30 years. And, it's just someone with the heart. She's got the heart of the Canadiens. That's to me something that she just has. And you guys saw in the thumbnail, Guy Lafleur and passing the torch. And Chantal knew what it meant to be a Montreal Canadien as a fan, as a media member, and on a personal level with these players. And that's the legends, specifically Guy Lafleur, but not just Guy, with everybody. And she had and has a way of just, I don't know how to put it in words. Like, it's one of those intangibles that you can't always describe that she has, but she has it. And she has that trust, especially with, the French players, but also the English players, and just the ability to communicate, hence the position title, really well with the players, the fans, everybody, and just has everything that you could possibly want in this position for this franchise. And I think, Nick, I'd rather hear from your side, because you've gotten to know her personally a little bit, and we've tried to get her on the show. She's so busy, and hopefully one day we still will.
Yeah, for sure. It's still a goal of ours to have Chantal for Autour de la Ligue, or just a French show for our French fans, and maybe we'll get a few English questions in there as well. But just for me, I think it's from the women's side of things. Women in sports is still a very taboo subject, apparently, in 2022, almost 2023. So when the organization was talking about having more diversity and breaking those barriers, I think it was the perfect opportunity to name her as a VP to replace Paul Wilson, which, again, like you said, we never really talked about that position or knew anything about it. But now having her as our VP of Communications, we know more, right? She's taking those steps to obviously communicate, which is her position, but communicate with us fans and the media. There's been a huge change with the media. If you've noticed, I think this is a big theme for this season. A lot more things are being discussed. The organization's more open when it comes to injuries, discussing with players, hence Carey Price holding press conferences, things that we didn't see in the past in the Bergevin era. So it's very exciting to have her, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do in the near future for us. It can only get better, in my honest opinion. But speaking of killer hires, Dixie, get us started with your initial reaction when Kent Hughes was named the 18th general manager of the Montreal Canadiens this year. A lot of people thought it was going to be Patrick Roy. There's so many rumors going around, but I want to get your initial reaction on Kent Hughes, and I'm going to keep this theme going out through the show. What's your report card score for Kent Hughes this season?
Well, I think you have to count last season as half of it, because he was hired this calendar year in January, as you can see, January 11th. So you got to give the guy at least, I think, to me personally, I would give him an A. The reason I would give him an A is just because there was so much turnover so fast, and it turned into rebuilding for the future. But, before him also came Jeff Gorton, of course, as we know. But this to me was the first real big sign, maybe after Chantel in terms of like the outside of the box thinking. But when it comes to the hockey and the, the future of how they're going to build this team, this was a really big outside of the box hire for the Montreal Canadiens, being that Kent Hughes was a player agent, no general manager experience, hasn't really worked for an NHL franchise ever before in any position. So has that happened before? Maybe. I can't think of other ones off the top of my head, but with Kent Hughes coming in and just having that sort of credibility with having relationships with players, some of the big names like Patrice Bergeron were his client, just to name one of the bigger ones. And just the respect and the sense of the people person that he is. You need someone like that in that role, because as we know with Marc Bergevin, things got personal a lot of the times. I got Mark up beyond that situation got ruined because things got personal, and also with other players too, who we'll mention. But Kent Hughes so far in the job itself has an A for me. Even the trades that he made, came in there. They set the vision board on the wall with Jeff Gorton pretty quickly, and they started getting it done. So to me, I think that's an easy A for me. And no pun intended for the movie title. I think I threw in there with Emma Stone. But so far, I'm enjoying having him, and I like his openness. I think that we knew Jeff Petrie was going to be traded months before. When have you ever heard that out of a GM's mouth when they said, if we can accommodate a player, we will, which basically means he wants out. We're telling you that. You never get that from a GM. I love the openness, the transparency. It's refreshing as heck. And just want to give Kent's head bald head a nice rub for all the great work he's done so far.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll give him a kiss on the head. I don't care. He's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal. Listen, that beautiful bald head of his has some great stuff inside of it. But, I remember when the process began of finding the new GM, right? It started off with Gorton, and then he assembled a committee, a search committee. When's the last time we've heard about a search committee to find a GM? It's usually just the owner who has that one guy in mind, and he's like, okay, you're in, you're my guy. I don't remember that ever happening. So I had complete faith in the committee and the team to find the best guy for the job. And I think we did, really. I think the short list at the end of it was Daniel Brière and Mathieu Darche and Kent, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think this was the move to make. And, he's shown in less than a year what we can expect for years to come. And it's beautiful stuff. I'm pumped, really.
Yeah, he basically held his own and said, I'm creating a two-headed monster. And that's what he did with Jeff Gorton. Speaking of Jeff Molson here, Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. And so far, I think we could all give him a pretty good scorecard of an A, because he hasn't done, fingers crossed, knock on wood, a move where I'm going to question and be like, hey, buddy, what the hell are you doing? But remains to be seen. There's still a lot of time to go. Another surprise hire. I mean, this happened. We were doing a live reaction show of Kent Hughes being hired, and
I think we dropped the news first. I don't want. I'm just throwing it out there, like live on
maybe
on YouTube.
But this is right after Dominique Ducharme got let go. I mean, we should probably highlight that too. That was kind of an important milestone here. But we have Martin St. Louis that is hired as the 32nd head coach in the organization. I don't think any of us had Marty St. Louis' name anywhere near our paper, anywhere near our screens, because he was a complete surprise. A coach who has never, who was coaching Pee Wee, but has had a hell of a career in the NHL. How do we? Oh yeah, don't forget. He also brought the legs instead of. Never mind the arms. He brought the legs, which. Let's hope some of the boys start using very soon, but that's a subject for later. So thank you, Marty, for bringing your killer legs. Shane, get us started with your scorecard for Martin St. Louis and your reaction to the hire.
Well, I mean, everyone can go watch my reaction because you and I and Nick filmed right after. It was a crazy day. I remember we did a long show for Dominique Ducharme, and then we were
20 minutes after.
Who can be the replacement? Nobody named Martin St. Louis. He wasn't even on the board, right? And then 20 minutes later, like you said, we get the news. Hall of Famer is our new head coach. I mean, at first I was like perplexed. I didn't quite know what to think because he didn't have coaching experience. But I'm like, again, this just makes so much sense, right? This is a guy from here. Okay. He's bilingual. We know that. But the pedigree, the experience that this guy brings, and the respect, right? One big thing that went around with Ducharme is the fact that he didn't have control of the room, right? He didn't, quote unquote, have the respect of the guys. I wasn't in the room. I can't confirm. But for a
Pierre
fact that
Gervais can.
that's it, Pierre Gervais, if you've read the book.
Please go read the book and you will get all the information. But yes, keep going.
Oh, yeah, it's juicy stuff. But when a guy like Martin Saint-Louis walks in the room, everybody is just watching and listening to him and only him, and they will fight for that guy, right? And we've heard tons of people say that. Chris Weidman, Nick Suzuki, when he was on, I asked him, about that one speech that he gave, his first speech, and apparently everyone was just like, phenomenal, crazy stuff. So it's kind of hard to give him a grade right now just because of the team that we have. It's like, it's not his fault that we're losing, but I will say I'll give him like a B+ because we saw the emergence of so many players after he came. Like Cole Caulfield is obviously the name that's been mentioned the most, right? He had 1 goal in 30 games under Ducharme, and he finished the season with 23. Like,
insane.
Crazy stuff. And right now he's on pace for over 40 goals this season. So he's really brought out the best out of our best players. But I'm just dying to see what he can do with a contending team. Like when we'll be a steady playoff team, he's going to make the difference. I'm convinced.
Yeah, he's definitely been none of us had him on our radar, like we said, and it was kind of a big surprise. It was yet another major sign that this was a outside the box hiring, because what was Marty doing before this? He was coaching Pee Wee. Literally, he was Gordie Bombay before he got to the Canadiens. So, he comes in with this, Pee Wee coaching pedigree. No, that's not what it was. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy who's won at every single level. And he's a guy that had to fight his friggin' tail off every time he won at every level, because he was doubted his entire playing career. So when that guy walks in the room and you hear from Nick Suzuki, Jake Evans, people that run a show, players that run a show, or anybody else that was in the room, the hair on their neck was standing up. You get goosebumps, you get chills, because this guy speaks from the heart and from the spirit, man. Like, it's from deep within that he loves this game and he wants to transfer that to the team and then ultimately turn it into wins. And he did that. He got to the Canadiens, and what did they start doing? They started beating the Toronto Maple Leafs and other teams, and just upsetting teams left and right. Even though that Shane said it earlier this year on the show, they were the Canadiens became the most exciting last place team in the NHL, and Marty St. Louis was such a big part of that. And after years and years and years of watching Marty be a Hab killer on the ice against us with the Tampa Bay Lightning, it was friggin' refreshing to see him, with the CH on his breast jacket pocket, and just everything that he brings. We know it's still early, and just as of this week, people are questioning him as a coach and all that stuff. It's not him, guys. It's definitely the team. But I think that the biggest thing that came out of him was what? The whole disarraying of the systems and introducing concepts. And he said how he hated having to play in a system as a player because they had no freedom to be creative and just make reads. So you're naturally on the rink. When I play ball hockey, like you make reads. It's read and react. That's hockey. And there's some concepts and skills that are developed, but we'll get to the development department being revamped in a second as well. But Marty is really just somebody that has been through it. So that's why guys are listening to him. Dom hadn't been through nearly enough of the adversity or the success or any of the stuff that Marty's been through. And therefore you can't relate to him. So that's why with Marty, you can relate to him and you want to get to the level he got to if you can, and maybe even higher. And he's going to try to help the guys do that.
Yeah. I don't have a worry with Martin behind the bench, even with the lack of experience. We've seen, I guess, how can I put this? We've seen one step of what he can do with a team in a rebuild. So imagine what he can implement when he's got a full team and that we're able to do something. So if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. But right now, Martin's not the problem. Let's be honest. And the hire of Martin St. Louis led to some notable hires here. So we have Marie-Philippe Poulin, speaking of diversity again with Chantal, another player of what was she? Player of the year? Women's
she won
player of the
every
year.
Canadian Player of the Year
award.
Like that.
She won every single freaking award in 2022, every single medal, trophy, whatever it is, she's got it under her belt. I can't think of a more wonderful person to help this team develop with analytics and everything. She's great hire, and the best part of it is that she still has access to work on her career right now. So she's not letting go of anything to just focus on this. She's proving that she can do both. And down the line, if she does hang up her skates at one point, this is going to be great for this team if she can get a promotion within the organization. It also led to Vinny Le Cavalier, which is tied hand in hand with Kent Hughes, Martin Saint-Louis.
Yeah.
We have Nick, like everybody who was hired, Adam Nicholas, Nick Brobrock has a connection to this organization or somebody in it. So it wasn't about hiring somebody out of the blue like we've done in the past, or just, well, he seems okay, he seems like the best candidate. No, we went with who we trust. And I think that's going to make a huge difference in the way that we're drafting, you know?
Yeah.
And if we're talking about drafting and trading, this was this organization and this office's first trade deadline. So some notable trades that we had were Tyler Toffoli, Ben Sherratt, Arturi Lehkonen, and Brett Kulak. So Shane, talk to us about where this is leading right now, because some of these trades are going to be benefit for a long time.
Woo! Well, that was an interesting day. It started off Valentine's Day. I remember Valentine's Day, Tyler Toffoli gets the axe. I was in class when it happened, and I was distraught. Okay, let me tell you, I wasn't listening to my teacher the entire time. I was not in a good place. But then you look at what we got. Okay, Tyler Pitlick, whatever, he's gone. Emil Heineman, ton of potential. First round pick, which we used to select our boy Philip Machar, which Drew and I got to meet.
Our buddy,
guy.
you know.
We also got a fourth and a fifth for Tyler Toffoli. So we love Tyler Toffoli. We still love him. He's doing great in Calgary. But that return was juicy. It was beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Mm-hmm. And then not too long after, right, Ben Sherratt, we knew it was going to happen. Finally did.
But
right? We got hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm getting there. Okay. We get Ty Smilanic, which is a fantastic prospect, right? Great guy.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, right? Unprotected first round pick for the 2023 entry draft.
I'm sorry, was that unprotected?
Mind blowing. Unprotected.
Unprotected, right? Okay. Yeah.
So Florida can get
confirmed
the first pick, and well, that's ours. So phenomenal stuff by Kent, right? It's those little things, those little details that make these trades just fleeces essentially. And we got a fourth on top of that, so can't be mad. Obviously our boy Lecky, sad moment, right? Those who were watching the live stream there got to see our live reaction and Nick down a bottle of wine. But we got Justin Barron, who's a fantastic young defenseman prospect and a second round pick. But I think the real joy that we got out of that trade is seeing Lecky lift the cup, right? I think that's crazy. That's what we wanted, right? It sucks that we had to let him go, but again, he achieved his dream and he actually was a big part of the reason why they won. So love seeing that. And here's a trade that I didn't know just how good it was until before the show. Thank you, Drew. We sent Brett Kulak to the Edmonton Oilers for William Lagesson, who barely played, and a second round pick. For everybody watching, take one moment to guess who we selected with that second round pick.
I think his name rhymes with Bloodson.
Something along the lines of Lane Hudson.
Oh yeah.
For Brett Kulak. Okay, no disrespect to Brett here, but that is a fleece. Okay, the guy hasn't even played an NHL game yet, and I can confirm it is a fleece. So overall, that trade deadline, if you're giving it a grade, that is an A++. You couldn't ask for more, really. That it's everything you wanted and more. So fantastic.
Yeah, certainly Habs YouTubers like ourselves and myself included on my own channel, we're just having a heyday this year with Kent Hughes' first trade deadline. And it started with a memorial service for losing Tyler Toffoli because you guys were so crushed. And we had to find a way to service. We had to it was just Habs fans were in mourning on Twitter, mainly Nick and some others, but
I had a bad day.
Yeah. It's not
I
good.
remember it well. I had to like
Oh.
log off Twitter. I was like, I'm getting depressed. So like legitly though, this trade deadline from Kent Hughes was a big W for sure. And just in terms of not just because of the volume of trades, but the volume of assets that came in right out of the gate for him as a new GM. So I think that he certainly had some help with Jeff Gorton. Jeff Gorton's been a GM before twice. So you have to think that the two-headed monster, we got to give them both credit here, I think.
Yeah.
But Jeff Gorton is kind of like the secret agent, I feel like, in terms of the guy who's, helping pull the strings on some of these deals and just trying to get the vision in place. But all these trades were just cookies for us as fans. We get to talk about so many deals and all these picks that came back. And the fact that Lane Hudson came in for Brett Kulak, became part of that deal was just wild at 62nd overall. Lane Hudson coming in. And, like Shane mentioned, there's a lot of prospects. I could go through them all again. But the main thing is it was for me, I would say I would give it an A. I would give that trade deadline an A for sure. And it was a blast, and I can't wait to see. I don't think this next deadline is going to be quite as busy, but I like the fact that we again get the transparency from Kent. He doesn't shy away from sharing with fans what's coming and the vision for where we want this team to be.
Yeah.
It's a rebuild year. It's going to be a rebuild year probably next year too. So we're going to be sellers right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what Ken's going to be able to pull out of his magic hats.
I like that he's willing to wait too. Sorry to cut you off
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Josh Anderson offers came through the roof last year. They were coming from I think
there's still some this year. There's teams
we
that
had
are
4 cell phones with GMs trying to feed the offers.
It's absolutely insane. But like
he's not going to pull the trigger until the deal is right. So
exactly, and he's going to be transparent about it, which is
Yep.
fun for us because we get to report it in advance, and it's exciting because it's so many possibilities. Exactly, so many possibilities this upcoming trade deadline. But right after trade deadline, we got a pretty big surprise. We had Carey Price making a return. So Carey Price, who had entered the player assistance program and who was injured as well. So tough year for Carey. Carey comes back. Unfortunately, it was a 3-0 loss. Couldn't get it done for him. But we magically turned it around after. And we were able to grab Carey, which was, it's sad to say, maybe his last game in a Montreal Canadiens uniform and even in the league. His injury doesn't seem to be settling at any point right now. But if this was Carey's last game, 10-2 win versus the Florida Panthers, in which we had Cole Caulfield scoring his first NHL hat trick. We scored 10 goals for Guy Lafleur. We had Guy, who unfortunately passed away not long before. It was absolutely beautiful to see the whole team working together. The presentation, even at the end of the game, where the players got a chance to talk and pump up the fans, give their jerseys, sign things away. It was just the perfect way to end that season. One thing that noted for me just before we move on to Carey's last game here is when Guy Lafleur passed away and we were able to have the wonderful ceremony at the Bell Center. It was the first time that on the boards there were no ads.
Yeah.
It was all for Guy Lafleur. And I think that's one thing that stood out the most is how well Montreal as an organization is known for those ceremonies and how it made an impact on all the players. That game is where Brendan Gallagher led the team after to salute the banner. Just little tiny pieces like this is what made the team what it was and how important history is for the Montreal Canadiens here. So what do you guys think just quickly of Carey? Do we think we're going to see him again? And if not, what's your reaction to his last game being what it was?
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have scripted it better, really. It's just unfortunate that it might be his last. There's always hope, but again, it's very slim, right? But if there is a way to go, that's the way, right? 10-2 win, Caulfield hat trick, couldn't have asked for better. And keep in mind, this team was dead last in the league, yet the building was full. Everybody was cheering. Everybody was doing the wave, having a good time, smiles
chanting
on their
Guy.
Exactly. So you wouldn't find that with any other team. It was a special night for sure.
Yeah, this is Carey's one player that I think we've all pretty much been behind from the start, and he's been through it all in Montreal, and somebody that from the very beginning, like I remember his first game, he had the white helmet. And no, he didn't even have his helmet painted.
Just the white helmet
against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Coming in for his first NHL game in 2007, and coming off a Calder Cup with the Hamilton Bulldogs, just up the road here. He's somebody that means a lot to a lot of fans because he takes the time for a lot of fans as much as he possibly can, including my own family. So we all have our personal reasons why we, appreciate him as a person beyond just the player, but. It sounds cheesy to say for some, maybe, I'm a religious person, but it's in God's hands, I guess, what happens with Carey Price, because nobody knows. And he's a person of faith too, I think, but that's something that we just will never fully know the answer to. But it was just like the Michael Jordan thing. When he retired, it was like he was 99% sure that he was done, and then what happened? He came back. Now Jordan wasn't injured like Carey Price is, but certainly the level of athlete that Carey Price is, being an all-star, a superstar, he's somebody that you always hope for those comeback stories. I mean, if he's genuinely able to play a couple more games, but if he's not, you know what, there's nothing to be ashamed of in his career. He did everything. He carried the Canadiens basically on his own a lot of time.
No wonder his knees hurt.
Yeah. He's literally been carrying them for so long, but he's someone that's beloved, and his number will be retired in the Bell Center. You can mark that.
No doubt.
And that's all I got to say about Carey. I mean, I could talk about him all day, actually, but we'll keep it
on
going
this channel. We are pro Carey Pricers, so
we've done that enough, So we'll keep doing it eventually.
So on a more positive note, on May 10th, we have it. Okay, can somebody click the reaction photo, please? Because it has to be shows. So we won the draft lottery, and this team, the Habs Tonight team, saw versions of each other that we had never seen before. Shout out to Damon, because his soul left his body that day, and Shaner just disappeared into another dimension. So if you have the chance, go watch our video. We'll link it to this at the end here. It is about like a 2-minute video, but it is the most funniest thing in the world. Nobody was synced. Everybody was cheering.
And Nick hasn't even reacted yet.
That's it.
No, because Marco and I weren't synced. Anyways. Absolutely hilarious. But the Habs win the draft lottery, and all odds are pointing to Shane Wright coming to the Montreal Canadiens. And even Deeksy had the biggest rant of like, he's a Montreal Canadian right now. And boy, was he wrong.
Actually, that was Damon. Right after he's like, Shane Wright.
Yeah.
But
that's the first thing he yelled. Yeah.
But you went on some damn rants every single show, and he was your guy, and I'm like, buddy, we're gonna go get Slav, and you're like, no, we're not.
Now we have Slav jersey, so it's all
now you have a Slav jersey, so all is right in the universe. The stars are aligned once again. But before we get to that, we had, I guess, a expected but unexpected trade. We had Shea Weber that was traded to the Vegas Golden Knights in return for Dadonov
and a bag of pucks.
And obviously a salary cap dump for the Montreal Canadiens. As we know, Shea Weber will probably not be playing hockey again due to his injuries, so that's another great player gone. And the Habs also lose their captain, so a bit of a weird trade. We've got Dadonov, who's also on a contract year right now, not having a great season, so kind of curious to see what's going to happen on that end. Just to skip through here as well, June 16th. Was it June or July?
June 26th.
Well, I made a typo. So don't mind that. Here, I'm just going to take it off so it's not embarrassing. My boy Lecky wins the Stanley Cup. Needed to be mentioned. Attaboy Lecky. Good stick, Lecky. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we have to add to, he scored the series winning goal in the semifinals and in the finals.
And the Stanley Cup winning goal. The guy who couldn't hit the friggin' net in Montreal scores the Stanley Cup winning goal. Okay, sorry for y'all. But come on.
Get over it. Yeah.
I love it.
No, it was written in the stars. We couldn't be happier for our boy Lecky. Much deserved, and Lecky's a Stanley Cup player right now. Insane. Champion. Let's jump into the draft, because what a day that was. Okay. So I got to go to the draft, Shaner as well, and Drew was hosting with Brando that night. So all odds were pointing to Shane Wright being a Montreal Canadian, and then Kent Hughes drops a bomb on everyone and selects Juraj Slafkovsky.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go.
You're as speechless as I
disgusting.
was. You're as speechless as I was when we made the pick. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
That's
was
another
a heck
great
of a
video.
night. It was a heck of a night. Slavy himself, you know, like Shaner said in the reaction video afterwards, which is our most successful video on Habs tonight, because Nick had some inside information on those Shane Wright interviews that did not go very well in the second round with Vincent Lecavalier. And you know what? It's okay to be wrong. And we still don't really know. Like, a lot of people are watching Shane Wright, for example, in the World Juniors right now. And you know, some people still feel like he's going to be the better player long term, but no one knows for sure. And I think that the Canadians made, in their minds, the best pick if they feel like he's going to have the highest ceiling of the players that were available at number one. Although even Simon Nemec, like, I thought he looks amazing right now with Slovakia. But what a draft for Slovakia too, by the way, with those two and Machar being selected, 3 first rounders. It's the first time in their history, obviously. But with Juraj Slafkovsky, I mean, I went to bat for Shane Wright, and I'd only seen the guy play once in person, and I was convinced, it went downhill from there in terms of what actually transpired at the draft. But you guys were there live for the drama, so we got to witness it on video, and it was so dramatic. Like, it was so dramatic. And it was a blast. And once, like Shane said in the reaction video afterwards, once fans kind of like got their brains back in their head again after their minds were blown, they realized that, okay, they were all about it. They were all supporting Slafkovsky. You guys saw him in person. You saw what a monster he is at just 18 years old. And we've seen him have some good moments so far this year. We've seen him have some not so great moments, but he's 18 years old. He's a huge guy, and he's still getting adjusted to that North American game. But in terms of the draft, it wasn't just about Slav. It was also about Philip Machar. It was also about Owen Beck. It was also about Lane Hudson. We got some other great prospects coming down the pipe.
It was also about the trade.
Yes. Oh,
that was just insane. Shaner, walk us through it.
We have a trade to announce.
What was
Listen, that July 7th was my favorite day of the entire year. And I have to first thank Nick and David for the tickets. I wasn't supposed to go. Okay. Me and my dad had arranged, because I was working the day the tickets went on sale, and he was on his computer waiting to get those tickets. And they sold out within seconds. They were gone. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, we missed it. That's a one in a lifetime opportunity. Like, first overall pick at home. It's going to be nuts. And it was. But shout out to Nick and David for the tickets. And, I got to go with my dad and my grandpa. It was an amazing experience, just walking through the halls, seeing prospects. I walked past Cédric Gaucher. I walked past Logan Mailloux. Like, I'm like looking over. I know you. It was stupid. It was crazy. And then we had great seats. I was sitting basically next to the Sportsnet table, which is cool. Got to see David Amber. David Amber is huge, by the way, big guy. But it was special. I mean, the energy before the first pick. Like, the guy to my right was drunk as shit. Like, he was gone, and he grabbed me like this. He's like, "Dude, I got Slav. He's my guy." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man. Whoever we pick, I trust." And he was ecstatic. Like, I made a best friend, that night. Like, I don't know that guy. Shout out to you, man, if you remember me. But it just brought everyone together. Like, it was so special. The atmosphere was unlike anything I've ever seen. I've been to playoff games. This was crazier. This was crazier by a landslide.
And then he announces a trade.
And then Gary Bettman, that's it. We have a trade to announce. It pertains to the Montreal Canadiens. You might want to stop booing me. Never, Gary.
And then they did.
But
for a second.
My God, like, first Romanov, everyone's just destroyed, right? And then he's like, in exchange for Kirby Doc, place blows up. Everyone's going crazy. I mean, we didn't expect it, right? That's why it made it so special too. It was nuts. And then, like, the rest of the night was just so special as well. But yeah, July 7th will go down in history. It's just a beautiful night.
Just absolutely insane. An experience that we will never forget, and just thankful for it for sure. Thankful to you, DC, too, for hosting that show at Brando. We were able to broadcast live for the fans, which I'm sure they appreciated. So
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Despite
next
my
year,
temporary heartbreak, it was fun.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm over it. I got the jersey. We're fine.
The stars are aligned again. But this year, the draft will be in Nashville, which I am probably attending. So we'll try to
nice
get you guys a live reaction from Nashville. Hopefully, it's going to be for Connor Bedell, but you never know.
Sorry, for who?
I don't know. This guy. Apparently, he's good.
Oh, okay. Future Montreal Canadiens Connor Bedell. I wasn't sure. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. July 16th, Jeff Petrie finally gets his trade out of Montreal and accompanied by Ryan Poehling. That I was actually a little bit caught off guard by, because I wasn't expecting Ryan Poehling to be traded with Jeff Petrie yet alone to Pittsburgh. So a little bit of a shocker here. But Drew, walk us through your reaction for this one, because I think this is one of the most wow, okay, cool kind of trades.
Yeah, well, we knew it was coming before it actually came, which Poehling was a bit of a surprise too. I guess former friend of Habs tonight, Ryan Poehling, because he had a great episode.
Still a friend.
Yeah. You know what? If we asked him to come back on, I'm sure he would. I would love to ask him what it's like to go into to be in a locker room with Sidney Crosby every day. I'm just going to throw that out there too. So maybe we should ask Ryan if he wants to come back on. But Jeff Petrie served a lot of great years here in Montreal. His last year was his worst by a long shot, but he served the Canadiens really well. And we all got to know his family, his kids.
It was 7 years?
It was 8 seasons total, I think, if you include when he got traded at the trade deadline, which we got him for basically nothing. And then we get Mike Matheson in return, who is basically my doppelganger. I look just like him or whatever. So I still don't even know what that word means. It means you look like him. Anyway, but he's from the same place as me too. We're both from Pointe Claire, so it's just weird. But this trade was expected. It was a decent return. We got Matheson and I think a pick in return as well. And I was thankful for Jeff Petrie and all the years, the great years on defense he brought. Honestly, he was one of my favorite defensemen for the simple fact that he just did everything well. Whenever he would box guys out, whenever his gap control was amazing. He had that long reach. He had a good shot. He was a complete defenseman. He really was. And he's kind of getting into his sunset years slowly here, but many, many great seasons with Jeff Petrie at the back end, and having that top four in the playoff run of 2021 with Petrie, Sherratt, Weber, Edmondson. Those guys were unstoppable and made it very difficult for a lot of our opponents in that run. And Petrie was certainly a big part of that. I just really liked what he brought to the Canadiens consistently for many, many years. He did things that even, PK's coming back soon to be honored, but I think Petrie was the most consistent and offensive defenseman that we had since Markov, but also on the defensive side, he did everything well. And I just really liked his time with us, and hopefully things go well at the end of his career and he gets another chance at a cup.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Deeks. Sorry, Nick, but
no, it's okay.
The ticker here, right? Monahan and first for free. That one just blew my mind. I was at work again. I seems to be getting every trade.
You need to stay at work.
Seems like it. I quit that job though, so I can't really go back. But again, there were a few Habs fans around me, and I just stood up and I'm like, whoa. What? Monahan alone for free is pretty cool. He's a great player, right? But then you get a first. You throw in a first to take on his contract. That's insane. So I mean, that trade is on par with me for the Sherratt trade. Kent Hughes, what the hell, man? He must have had something on Treliving. I don't get it. I still don't understand how you would give a first to take on that contract. I get that it's huge, right? But you could have brought it down to a second. But I mean, Kent is a wizard, clearly. If that's not proof enough, I don't know what is. So, wow, I love that trade.
Insane trade, insane return. And I think down the line, we should all consider getting a jersey that says future considerations in honor of this trade. Just because.
Why not?
September 12th, one of the most important dates of the year.
Huge.
Big Nick becomes the, was it 12th? No, 18th?
31st.
Close. See? 12, 31, close
Let's
enough.
leave it in traffic. It tells you.
There you go. See, this is why we have photos. 31st captain in Montreal Canadiens history, and also the youngest at 23 years old.
Oh, yeah.
This was written in the skies that Nick Suzuki would be captain, although I'm not going to lie, I have a big part of me that was wishing for Brendan Gallagher for the amount of heart and years that he has dedicated to this organization. But having Gallagher wearing the A is just as important as him wearing the C. It doesn't matter what letter he has on his jersey. This guy will always be the heart and soul of this team. But Nick Suzuki has grown into such a mature individual off the ice that it's being represented every time he speaks to the media, every situation he handles. So initial reaction, guys?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of expected it, right? When we had him on the show, Nick, we asked him about it.
Trying to get it out of him.
He actually gave us a great answer, right? We didn't ask him, hey, are you going to be captain? And we're like, how would you feel about being captain? Like, what would you do and all that? And if you haven't watched that episode yet, do yourself a favor and go watch that. He gave us a great answer. And, I think he's the man for the job, right? He is the future of this team. Mm-hmm. You don't know with Gally, right? We don't want to trade him, obviously, but with his injuries, it's gonna cut his career short no matter what. Like, we have to live with that. We have to accept that reality. So, how long would Gally have been captain realistically? We don't know. That's a question mark. And whereas Suzuki, he just signed a massive deal. We're not trading him anytime soon. That's a no-brainer. So I think it made sense to give him the C, and I think he was ready. Like, even as a 23-year-old, he's mature enough and he's got that presence, right? Jake Evans, we asked him too. And he said that, Nick just has that presence to him where you're like, whoa, like, this guy's got it, he's the real deal. So you kind of want to follow that guy, and he leads by example. He's having a tremendous season yet again, on pace for his best so far. So, it's not, the pressure's not going to his head. That's something we were worried about, right? Pacioretty 2.0. But luckily, that's not the case at all. He can handle it, and he's thriving right now. So great pick.
Yeah, it was set in the stars for sure. And Nate Thompson was on our show with Nick and Dale a while ago, like a year and a half ago or whatever it was, and he just said Nick Suzuki started his career in the NHL on the fourth line with Nate Thompson, and Nate just said, he's got it. Yeah. Like he's got a gift. And I don't mean to mention this because I said it so many times, but my career in broadcasting started the night that I interviewed Nick Suzuki in the OHL when he came here to Niagara. And honestly, like, that was like a promise I made to myself. I said, I want to get closer to the game, and I want to just start going out there and interviewing players. And I knew he was coming. The Pacioretty trade I was in Manhattan. I was in New York when I got the trade, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't have any reactions right now. I'm going to like live with Kelly and Ryan right now. I can't do anything about it. But that's what happened. I got the trade, and I didn't really know anything about Nick Suzuki. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go watch this guy play and then see if I can catch an interview. And as soon as he walked up, I don't know what it was, but there was a presence. There was a presence there. I was just like, ooh, like, kind of one of those, like, not just nervous energy, but almost like there's something special about this kid. Like, I think he's going to be a bigger deal than we realize. And then now we're sitting here 4 years later. He's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens.
At 23.
At 23 years old. And just the person he is, the skill set he has, the players he was able to learn under Shea Weber. He talked to Weber on the phone before taking this on and what to expect. Yeah. He found out everything he could about it before actually accepting the role. And he brought his buddy Cole Caulfield along for the ride too. No, but you know what? Just seeing Nick step into this role, him and his mom coming on our show, and us developing a relationship with the Suzukis, and them being so awesome with us and meeting with us at the home opener this year too. Yeah. They don't have to do that stuff. They just seem to choose, make the right choices, and surround themselves with the right people. And they are the people they are because of the people they choose to be. And Nick's skills don't hurt either, because, by the way, he's an awesome hockey player and he's a #1 center and just does a lot of things really well. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's dynamic as heck. and he's on the top line. He's an offensive player for the ages. I think that he's an all-star. He's everything that you could want in a kid who just is soft-spoken, but in a good way. He almost reminds you of Carey Price, the way he carries himself a little bit. Yeah. He's had every opportunity to learn from some of the best within a 2-3 year time frame, and we still don't even have the best of him yet as a player. So much more to come still from Nick, and I couldn't be more thrilled that he has the C, and I added it on my jersey very, very quickly when he got it.
I think one of the key things that stood out for me when it came to Nick Suzuki and how he's ready to, again, like our thumb says, pass the torch is after the passing of Guy Lafleur, the way he spoke to the media about Guy's legacy and how he hopes to one day have the same impact and be able to model his game inside and outside the ice after Guy. That right there, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was like, this kid knows what it means to wear it. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of people and all the players that will put on the sweater and play for the crest. We've had specific players throughout the years that, Dale being one of them, of knowing what it means to play for the Montreal Canadiens. And this kid is going to do whatever it takes to lead this team where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. I have complete faith in him, and I think we have the right pick for many, many, many years to come.
Amen.
Shaner, I'm going to let you close this up. Well, actually, we have one more topic after, but October 12th, which was the first game NHL debut for Juraj Slafkovsky. But let's just start with this.
Yeah.
We spoke about Carey Price earlier, but I just wanted to make this an honorable mention of holy ovation. I don't think Carey was even ready for it. He's so humble. Such a special human being, but take me through your reaction of that reaction and what it meant to have Carey at the game opener.
That's it. I was lucky enough to be there as along with Drew and James. Shout out Josh for the tickets. The way we were sitting, we were right near Carey. Like, we were so close. I sent you guys a video, right? We were pretty close. But one thing that stood out for me was there were Leaf fans around me, and they stood up and they clapped for him. Like, this guy transcends just the Habs. Like, he is a staple in a generation of hockey fans, including myself. Like, he's so huge for everyone. Even Leaf fans appreciate his greatness. But that was just such a special moment. I think everyone was just waiting for it. Like, we were building up to it, and when it got time, like, we let it all out. I kind of screamed at a few people who weren't clapping. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of gave them shit, but you know what? Like,
just doing the Lord's work.
Just damn suits, people. But it was fantastic, and what a game too, right? That game, 4-3 win against the Leafs. There, Josh Anderson last minute goal, Cole Caulfield with 2 goals, debut for 3 of our rookies, including. Damn, you can't see it very well, but
we this is why I don't know if you noticed, but you wore that shirt today, and your Wi-Fi is stronger. You didn't cut out today.
Well, there's no storm, so that helps. But yeah, definitely. Like, I think there was, a big sense of, I don't know how to put it, but like, everybody was just excited to see this game for so many reasons, including those 3 prospects, right? Slaf, Goulian, and Jacky getting their first game, and they did well too. But great night overall. It was just special.
It was, and I was looking forward to trying to be there, and I didn't find out where I was sitting until I was on the way there. But I was in the same section that I was in last year for the home opener with Nick helping me get those tickets. I was just one section closer. But the Carey Price thing was amazing because I was hoping he was going to be there, and that was what I was hoping for, because it might be one of the last chances I get to see him in person, as still an active member of the Canadiens, whether he's active as a player or not. He's still under contract. So it was pretty special. It was pretty special, to say the least. And the game itself was thrilling as heck. It was something more than I expected. The first period was a little bit of a dud. It was quiet. And then, like, you better have got to your seat on time in second period, because boom, Cole Caulfield scores. And then the game was just, well, the third period specifically, the last 3 minutes were amazing. With Sean Monahan getting his goal on his birthday. It was Sean Monahan's birthday, and he was trying so hard to be able to be healthy enough to play that game against the Leafs at home debut, season debut, with his new team. He didn't disappoint. He almost had the game winner. Nylander tied the game, and then Josh Anderson, 17, 18 seconds left. Shane and I think our voices were gone before we met Mishar. Like before we got to Mishar, we were like, "Hey man, how are you? Good to meet you." Because we were so thrilled with just the entertainment value that game came with, which I did not expect, and it was worth the trip to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. No, you guys got a special
and we missed you, Nick.
I know I was kind of jealous that I wasn't
there. Yeah, we
there.
felt bad in the group chat.
Major FOMO. Major FOMO. But I mean, you guys got a heck of an experience. So I'm happy that you got to see that live, especially got to meet up with everybody afterwards.
There
there you go. It's hell of a photo, guys.
Great guy.
Yep.
Great kid. Before we log off here, so we just wanted to highlight a few in memoriam here. Passing of Guy Lafleur, Mike Bussey, and Salming here. 3 legends that we lost way too soon to sickness, to freaking cancer and all that stuff. So big parts of the hockey game that are gone right now. Big parts. So shout out to them. Shout out to their families. Obviously, we still think of them every day. As we log off, we want to thank you guys for a hell of a year with us. It's been absolutely amazing, hitting over 15K followers on YouTube. You guys have been insane on all social media. We're almost at 10K on Twitter, almost at 6K, can't talk, on Instagram. The interactions have just been absolutely amazing, and we can't thank you enough. So, Deeksy, I'm going to let you log us out here with a killer message, because you're always good at that.
Yeah, just put me on the spot, because that's what I'm good at, apparently.
Of course.
Well, like this show has seriously been a dream come true. I know we all miss Dale Weiss on the show. I still talk to him. I just talked to him last week, and he every time I've asked him to come back on, he's always with his kids tobogganing or at the zoo or at the water park or doing something. So I have tried to get Dale back on. Dale's taken a big break from hockey. It's been his entire life. And just for those that have constantly asked us, has he ever come back on? He still might, but we've respected his space and the fact that he wants to be a family man. And now his kids are growing up playing hockey, and he's able to be at every game.
Much deserved.
Coach them along. And that's why I say the show was a dream, because a lot of us were and are Dale Weiss fans, and one of my favorite players that's ever played, and we got to do a show with them and create this show. Without him, this show just doesn't exist. So shout out to Dale, and just want to send this to him and say how much we love and appreciate him. And we appreciate the kind of man he's becoming still in his post-hockey career. And we couldn't be more thankful for the platform that we have because of Dale and James and Brando and Derek and just Damon and Adrian, everyone that's been on the show and really made it what it is. But it's also the viewers. Without the viewers showing up, there also wasn't a show. So for every one of you guys that showed up, we can't thank you enough. It's been truly a dream come true to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and get to know each other. We love doing this, and that's why we show up. So we're not on as often as we'd like to be. We've all got busier lives nowadays, but it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate every single one of you. So that's what I want to say. Thank you so much.
There you go. So we're going to wish you guys a very happy new year, all the health, success, happiness, a killer power play, and a future Stanley Cup.
And this guy too.
And Connor Bedard. I mean, odds are probably not I don't know, whatever.
The odds are getting better with every loss.
There you go. See, that's the type of motivation I'm looking for, Deeksy. Thank you so much for just
Habsitivity. Yep.
The Habsitiveness.
Trust the two-headed monster, folks.
There you go. Exactly. All right, you guys, take care. Enjoy New Year's. Be safe. And we will see you in 2023.
Bonne année.
Bonne année.